Hey guys. So something I've been noticing, I think might resonate with many of you, and that is living a life of monotony. I am feeling so mundane, so day in, day out, same routine over and over again, that when there is a little bit of variety in my life, I really latch on to that. It feels so good. But has anyone else experienced that? Like just feeling like you do the same thing over and over again. You're a hamster on the wheel, right? And just feeling like you can't get out of that situation, that mundane routine. Some things that have really stuck out to me, a few key points, is one of them is just feeling like I'm so stagnant, doing the same thing every single day just feels like I'm stuck. Like what was that movie, Groundhog's Day, right? Where everything just keeps repeating. Do you guys remember that movie? Do you feel like that because you do the same routine over and over again? I can remember, like 3 years ago when we all know what happened 3 years ago, right? It actually felt, as horrible as it was, it actually kind of felt like a vacation. I hate to say that, but it really did at first. It felt like a vacation because, I wasn't feeling so routine, like everything was new and different. So now that things have gotten more normal and I'm working from home a lot more, 100% pretty much, it really does feel very, very stagnant. So I'm curious if anyone else has that feeling too, where you're really just stuck. Um, Something else that I've noticed is I used to think of myself as a very creative person, and I have noticed that my creativity has really gone downhill. Has anyone else experienced that? Because, I used to, when I worked, let me tell you a little backstory. When I worked as a massage therapist, my days could be booked solid, or I would have a couple days of the week where I didn't have any appointments. But all of that could change in a moment because somebody could call and cancel, or I could get someone calling looking for a last minute appointment. So even though I had a schedule, it could change at any time. So it was never truly set, which made it hard to plan or book anything. And that meant that I had to get really creative, right? So if I did have to do extra appointments that I wasn't planning on, I had to get creative in how I'm going to, get the tasks done that I thought I had time to do that now I don't have time to do. Or if on the other token, if I had a cancellation and I was left with unexpected hours off, what can I accomplish in those few hours, right? Like this was a great opportunity to do those little nagging projects that were not really super important to put at the top of my list, but I was really creative and I made good use of my free time. I would go and I would do those photo albums, or I would paint that wall, or go out and redo the garden or something, any of those little projects that needed to get done but just never had the time to do. So now that I'm, living this routine life from home, I feel like it's more mundane and I don't have as much creativity. And I really have noticed that a lot because I used to be a very creative person. And I noticed that I'm not quite as creative as I once was. So I'm going to work hard at getting that back. Another thing that I've noticed in myself, and I hear it from so many people, whether my clients are saying it or just people in general that I know, is that they're really lacking motivation. With a lifestyle that's very routine and mundane, we lack motivation because life doesn't seem exciting, right? It's the same thing, nothing surprising. The same thing happens day after day. So we tend to lack the motivation. And this especially comes up around the topic of exercise. So if that resonates with you, let me know in the comments below because that comes up so very often. And I once heard someone say that if you need motivation to do something, then you really didn't want to do it in the first place. And I think that that's very true because how often have we complained or said, oh, I'm just not motivated to go do something. And yet we could have something else come up. And if we really want to do it, we're like, yep, I'm there and nothing stops us, right? So we didn't really need motivation in that moment because it was something that we really wanted and truly, desired to do. So think of motivation as like, if you really need it, then that means it's something you didn't really want to do. And maybe that's exercise or maybe that's something else, but it's definitely an interesting perspective. Another thing that I noticed is how many missed opportunities I've had. When we're living such a routine life and doing the same thing, and our schedules look exactly the same every day, every week, every month, every year, there are so many missed opportunities. And sometimes we know about them and sometimes we don't know about them because they've passed us by and we're so busy in our own little world that we didn't even know. This one really hits home for me because most of my adult life, all of my jobs have taken place in the evening hours. And what happens is that most people, not everybody, but most people, they work 9 to 5 and they come home and they get to go out and do fun things. And I'm still working, or I was free in the morning when they were working. And so I missed out on a lot of opportunities to be able to do things with friends or with family members or even just things at home. Not that I'm complaining because I love my job, but let's just say there might be a little room for improvement there. But think about how many missed opportunities we might have to learn and grow as a human. And we just keep doing the same routine over and over again, and we don't give it any thought to have these new experiences. So I really, that's definitely another one that I'm going to be working on to improve so I don't have as many missed opportunities. And then one of the other things that I noticed is that boredom really, really kicks in. When our life is so routine, we get so comfortable that we get a little too comfortable, if you know what I mean. And then we start getting bored, right? And do you guys know what happens when most of us get bored? We start eating. Most of us start eating. There's other things, I'm sure, but this comes up so very often. So many of my clients have said to me before, I can't believe once they get it and they notice, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how many times I eat out of boredom. Have you ever had that happen where you're eating something and then all of a sudden you say to yourself, oh my God, I'm not even hungry. Why am I eating this? Don't be too hard on yourselves because actually mindless eating is a sense of, just surviving. So don't be too hard on yourself on that one. But it is true. We do tend to eat when we get bored, and that's not a habit that anybody wants to continue. So noticing a few of these things that pop up for me in this routine, more mundane kind of a lifestyle, I really notice that that's where I have to embrace variety. And I talk a lot about variety food wise because I tend to work closely with food and clients, but really variety comes in so many different forms, right? Variety, they say, is the spice of life. And I really think that that truly does keep us engaged and keep us excited. So how can you create more variety? How am I going to create more variety so that I'm not living this life of monotony, right? So one thing that I'm going to try to do is try something new on a regular basis. Okay, this could be a new food. This could be a new activity. This is going to be something that's going to happen every single week, though. We don't want to just try something new once in a while. I'm really, really good at that, but I want to be better at trying something new on a more regular basis. So whether you set up something weekly or maybe bi-weekly or monthly, it's going to get you in the habit of trying something new regularly so you don't get stuck and don't get trapped in that monotony that we spoke about earlier. Something else you can do is just change your routine. Routines have their benefits. Don't get me wrong. Routines are really helpful. They really help you get stronger when you're talking about exercise. It really helps to create long-lasting habits, the habits, of course, that we want to keep. But, adding a little extra spice in the form of changing your routine can really go a long way. So this might look something like maybe going to work by taking a different road, take the back road. That's so much fun this time of year because everyone's getting their Christmas decorations out. The bright lights are really pretty if you're driving in the dark, of course. But just try to do something slightly different. Try a new recipe in your weekly, how would you want to say it, your turnaround of your foods and your recipes. Try to add something new every week or every month. You could also really try to branch out and meet new people, right? This is really exciting, especially now because we're coming back from COVID where everyone was, forced to stay home and we didn't have as many face-to-face things, going on. And really just getting out and meeting people feels so, so good. But if you could find people that have something intriguing, like have something that you have in common, of course, but meet new people and really just broaden your scope of friends, right? Widen that circle. That can be really fun. Whether you join a fitness community, I actually have an awesome health community that is a wonderful support system for each other, and they're global. They're all over the world. So that has given me a ton of variety, and I cherish those relationships. Um, Another thing, one more thing you could do, travel, go exploring. I'm actually getting excited just thinking about it because I'm going to be traveling next week. And, travel can give you that sense of adventure, it'll bring back the child in you. It's so, so much fun. So get out there and travel, even if you just travel within your own community. Like I have things in my own community, which is really small, but I have some actually really cool things here that I haven't even seen myself. So you don't have to go far. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but you can really just go out and have an adventure in your backyard. Or like I said, just a few miles down the road, you might find something if you go out on a nature walk, or, you go to the next neighboring town. Maybe they have a nice museum, or, and I mean, anything. Just, we have so much information at our fingertips. There's no reason that we can't do a Google search of adventures and travel within a certain radius of our home, right? So give that a whirl. And, another thing that I'm really trying to embrace, and maybe you've noticed this, but I'm really trying to continue to learn. And one of the things that I'm continuing to learn about is social media. So if you've seen me on social media a little bit more, that's because I'm really trying to get comfortable with learning about social media and sharing my messages and helping people. And another thing that I like to do is exercise, of course, but pickleball. I just bought a pickleball paddle and ball, and actually I've got like the net and everything. I hadn't had a chance to use it before we kind of closed up the outside, but I'm really excited about pickleball because it's all the rage now, and several of my clients have been playing pickleball, and it just sounds so much fun. So I had to jump in on that pickleball bandwagon and give that a whirl. So I'll keep you posted how that goes. But things like that are really, really fun to do, and it helps you learn more. So whether you're like me and you're learning some technology that maybe is foreign to you, maybe you are learning a new sport. Maybe you're playing an instrument. Maybe you're, reading different types of books. Maybe you're learning another language. That would be really fun. I went on vacation this summer, and I tried to take a few Spanish lessons because I was going to the Dominican Republic, and it was so much fun to try to learn another language. And I have to say that I got to pick up on that again because I kind of let that slide now that I'm home and returned from the area. But it was really a lot of fun, and it actually did come in handy a couple of times too. So so get out there and just really step outside your comfort zone, and that way you won't feel like you're so stuck or that life is boring and life is mundane. I am on a mission to create more variety in my life, and I invite you to join me on this journey. It can be so much fun, or we can just be boring and keep living our same boring lifestyles, right? And it's not to say that I can drastically change my schedule, because duty calls when it calls, right? But there are little ways that we can incorporate more variety in our life. So if that's something that resonates with you, please post in the comments below and how you want to change, how you would like to add a little more variety in your life so that you don't feel like you're living a life that's mundane. Let me know in the comments below. And just remember, life is an adventure, right? Life is an adventure, and we can break free from our routines if we want to. Remember, we don't need motivation if we want to. So if you want to break free from that routine, let me know, join with me, and we really can just create something really exciting. So stay curious, guys, and stay adventurous, and let me know. Keep in touch. Bye, everybody.